I'm not sure we really know where nuclear technology came from.
How much do we know about where nuclear technology came from? We know a lot about where it came from. Marie Curie did all kinds of testing and studies, and her husband, whatever his name was, Perry, something, did all kinds of studies on this stuff. Niels Bohr was one of the earliest people to map out what an atom looks like, or how an atom operates, or whatever. We know all kinds of stuff about how this stuff works. What are you even saying right now? As if we have no clue how any of this plays out or how any of it operates or whatever. He's acting like we're completely in the dark. You think that, like, we just got nuclear technology out of nowhere? Certainly not. You can't convince me of it. Tucker knows better, right?
Actually,
Really?
Yes.
Like the Manhattan Project?
Yeah, like we know the Manhattan, and we know something about the Manhattan Project, but like where exactly did that, came from? Germany. German scientists were working on it. Okay.
Really? You don't know? Here's the bottom line. Here's the problem. Just because you don't know doesn't mean there is no answer. Doesn't mean that you can make up your own answer. You can say whatever you want. It's just fabricated garbage.
Okay. It's a separate conversation, but the one person I know who's really pushed others writing a book on it, who's a trustworthy person and a friend of mine.
Anytime you hear Tucker say he's a trustworthy person, you know they're not.
You know him. Said to me, actually, I spent a year working on this, and the closer I got to okay, but what's the genesis? Like, where did this? What was the Isaac Newton apple on the head? Oh, gravity's real moment for fission. Not clear.
No, it is clear. We know exactly how this happened. As a matter of fact, the first nuclear power plant, if you will, it started out as basically a very, very, very weak form of fission. A nuclear power plant works by taking 3 rods of, say, uranium or whatever, and you have 3 control rods of lead, right? And the uranium is radioactive, shoots protons out randomly, right? And as it shoots off protons, it becomes the more stable form of uranium, which is lead, because it's losing mass, it's losing a proton, and it becomes lead. So you take the lead control rods, and the proton just kind of runs into the lead, and that's it. To accelerate this process, all you have to do is fire radiation at, let's say, gamma like X-rays or something, at the uranium, and it will accelerate its process of letting off protons, and the uranium will heat up. If you keep firing gamma rays or X-rays or whatever, I'm just throwing things out there, if you keep shooting stuff at it, then it will reach critical mass and it becomes an explosion, because the protons start firing off and then knocking into other protons in the plutonium or whatever. And then those protons, when they split up, or those atoms, when they split apart, they shoot protons everywhere, and then they hit other atoms, and it becomes a chain reaction. It's called, Richard Feynman called it tickling the dragon's tail. Basically trying to get this get as close as you can to a chain reaction without actually setting off a chain reaction. Anyway, we have control rods in there to prevent the uranium from going critical. It went critical in Chernobyl, and they couldn't stop it from melting down, and now we have what's called an elephant's foot there. If you see the elephant's foot, you will die. You will be dead. This is what the elephant's foot looks like in Chernobyl right here. A picture was taken of it, and the person that took the picture died because there's so much radiation. This is the melted down core of the what do you call it? Like of the the Chernobyl nuclear reactor. You don't want it to go critical. So they put control rods in to prevent it from going critical, and they can lower the control rods anytime they need to lower the reaction. But the goal is to heat up the uranium rods or the radioactive rods. I don't know what they use now, plutonium or something. I'm not even sure. Anyway, they heat up the rod, or they get the rods, they fire radiation at the rods to heat them up, and they keep them in water. And those rods heat the water up. And the water turns into steam, and the steam goes up and turns turbines at the top, and the turbines power a city or whatever. Well, the earliest nuclear reactors didn't power a city. They were getting a really, really weak amount of electricity out of it. Almost no electricity. Almost nothing. And that's because they didn't know how it worked exactly. The scientists on the projects, they didn't know how it worked. They didn't know how to get a lot of it, and they didn't want to take too many risks or anything. I mean, this is all well understood, well documented. Like, we know how we got there. There is a Newton, apple on the head moment for nuclear reactors or whatever. Tucker is pretending that this is some kind of an alien project that was given to us by aliens, except they're not aliens, they're demons or whatever. Just fabricated garbage. What the hell are you talking about right now, Tucker? I don't think that he even believes this, truthfully. I think he knows he's full of shit on this. He's just pandering to a very specific crowd who he knows will eat it up, who is obsessed with Christian nationalist Jesus. It's just insane, and it's sad. I feel like he's kind of denigrating the memory of all of the scientists who've worked on these projects over the years and died working on them, right? Not just scientists who've died working on them, but just like regular maintenance guys were working on these projects, trying to help the scientists, keeping everything clean. As a matter of fact, there was a guy who was trying to tickle the dragon's tail, as Richard Feynman called it, and he went over the line, and it went critical, and it killed him. And I think it killed the janitor that was there cleaning, the office after hours, too. Or maybe the janitor was, behind something. I don't remember. Anyway, people died. Just normal people died because of this research. And Tucker is just pretending that none of this happened. He doesn't understand how any of this happened. Doesn't believe that it's real. He thinks we got it from demons. What is wrong with you, Tucker? Seriously.
For fission. Not clear. Weird.
Not clear? Yes, it is clear.
I don't know the answer. But here's the point. Clearly,
because you don't know the answer doesn't mean nobody knows the answer, Tucker. You aren't everybody.